jury. Justice has been done.
A jury finds Bill Cosby guilty on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Melise Payne. The case today centered around Andrea Constand, who accused Cosby of sexually assaulting her in 2014. Now, the question the jury answered today is whether the encounter between Andrea and Cosby was consensual. Wendy Woolfolk reports.
After 14 hours of deliberations, a Pennsylvania jury has found Bill Cosby guilty on all 3 separate counts of aggravated indecent assault, all second-degree felonies. The jurors ultimately believing the testimony of the prosecution's chief witness, Andrea Constand.
Andrea Constand came here to Norristown for justice. And that's what 12 jurors from Montgomery County provided her.
We are very disappointed by the verdict. We don't think Mr. Cosby is guilty of anything, and the fight is not over.
It is the second time the comedian and actor has stood trial on those charges. The first, last year, ending in a hung jury. While numerous women have accused the entertainer of misconduct ranging from groping to sexual assault, Andrea Constand's allegations are the only that led to criminal charges. Renowned defense attorney Tom Mesereau called his client's chief accuser a, quote, pathological liar, scheming for a big payday. Cosby's team was allowed to call Constand's former colleague at Temple University, Margot Jackson, who testified Constant spoke of framing a high-profile person in order to file a lawsuit and get money. But according to prosecutors, Bill Cosby was nothing like the image he played on TV. In this retrial, the judge allowed jurors to hear testimony from 5 other of Cosby's alleged victims, who all described in similar detail their stories of Cosby drugging and preying upon them. Throughout, Cosby has always maintained his innocence. The judge has released Cosby on bail under house arrest until sentencing.
The judge did require Cosby to surrender his passport before he left the courthouse.
Back in Missouri, here's what's happening right now. A judge is deciding whether to block Attorney General Josh Hawley from investigating Governor Greitens' charity. The judge held a hearing today after Greitens' attorney said Hawley has a conflict of interest and a neutral investigator should take over. KOMUH's Jasmine Ramirez is live with the latest update on the court hearing.
A circuit judge heard arguments in Greitens' lawsuit against Hawley at the Cole County Courthouse today. Hawley's investigation found evidence the governor allegedly stole an electronic list of charity donors to use for campaign purposes. Greitens' attorney says Hawley has a conflict of interest after the attorney general expressed his support for the governor's impeachment.
Eric Greitens, like anybody else, is entitled to due process, and he is entitled to a fair process. And part of that fair process involves not having the person who's investigating you out in public making statements that talk about the fact that he should resign, that he should be impeached.
He wants a neutral person to take over the felony investigation. Hawley's attorney says banning the attorney general is unnecessary.
What they call a special prosecutor to disqualify the attorney general in a manner that is not pending before this court. I'm not aware of any authority that would support that extraordinary remedy that they're seeking.
He said the attorney general's statements about Greitens are not related to the charity investigation. The judge has not yet released his statement on the verdict today. We will keep you updated as we find out more information. Reporting live in Jefferson City, Jasmine Ramirez, KOMU8 News.
Missouri's infrastructure got a report card today, and the cumulative GPA is not looking great. Even worse, Missouri roads are barely passing class. KOMU8's Eric Graves is live on I-70 with more on the grades. Eric?
Overall, Missouri infrastructure received a C-, the same grade it got when the last report came out in 2013. However, Missouri roads got a D+ from the American Society of Civil Engineers, a decrease from the C they received at that last report. Now, this was the biggest decrease of all 11 categories evaluated by the ASCE. Something that could help fund roads is a Senate bill to raise the gas tax from 17 cents a gallon to 27 cents. This tax has been raised with inflation since 1996 and would generate an additional $440 million a year.
The reason that's detrimental to our transportation infrastructure is because we depend 70% of our revenue from the gas tax.
Corlew said this tax increase would be a shot in Missouri's arm. The next report will come out in about 5 to 6 years. Reporting live along Highway 63, Eric Graves, KOMU 8 News.
Well, we pass them all the time on the highway, weigh stations for trucks.
A year ago, State Auditor Nicole Galloway started investigating conflicts of interest involving state employees connected with those weight stations. KOMU 8's Caroline Peterson is here in the studio to tell us what Galloway found in the investigation.
I sat in on the announcement about the conflicts of interest Galloway found between state workers and a company that helps trucks to bypass weigh stations. Missouri has the 7th largest highway system in the country. On these highways, you find electronic weigh stations allowing truckers to bypass traditional ones.
Trucks subscribe to the Pre-Pass program or the DriveWise program. With that comes a transponder that goes inside their vehicle.
That transponder lets truckers know if they can bypass a weigh station or not. A report released by State Auditor Nicole Galloway shows some former Highway Patrol and MoDOT employees were not playing fair.
My report details communications by employees of the Highway Patrol and MoDOT that show they acted in a way that gave preferential treatment to Help Inc.
Help Inc. is a nonprofit that created the Pre-Pass program. Galloway's report details 3 of the state employees were on the board for the nonprofit, including the former head of MSHP. They were also hired by Help Inc. less than a year after leaving their jobs, which is against Missouri law.
My recommendations include developing clear procedures to review potential conflicts of interest.
MoDOT released a statement saying they have fully cooperated with the audit. They said they have discontinued participation on the Help Inc. board, stopped paying membership dues, taken personnel action, and identified training to help current MoDOT employees understand their post-employment responsibilities. The Highway Patrol took corrective action last May. Attorney General Josh Hawley released a statement saying their public corruption team is actively investigating the issue. MSHP also released a statement saying they fully cooperated with the audit and will continue to work with their partners to make the roads safer. Reporting in the studio, Caroline Peterson, KOMU 8 News.
Just a few hours ago, a student community service project was put on hold today when the students saw someone steal all of their equipment at Paxton Keeley Elementary School. $700 worth of equipment like loppers, gloves, and saws were taken from the 4th graders and hauled away in a truck. About 3/4 of the equipment has been returned. Witnesses immediately called the police and the investigation is ongoing. A large group of Colorado teachers are rallying outside of the state capitol in Denver. They were protesting for increased school funding and retirement plan protections. The protests caused some of the largest school districts in the state to cancel class. Even more teachers are expected to rally at the Capitol Friday. These rallies come after recent teacher protests in West Virginia, Oklahoma, and Kentucky.
An explosion at a Wisconsin oil refinery injured nearly 24 people today. A tank exploded at the Husky Energy Oil Refinery. A contractor who was inside says the explosion sounded like a sonic boom as crews were shutting down the plant for repairs. There are no reports of fatalities.
The E. coli lettuce outbreak spreading across the country. What the CDC has to say about it.
Don't see this every day. A Columbia school helps students with a flexible mind and body.
And your evening forecast is coming up. I'll also be talking about the weekend outlook as a tranquil pattern builds in for the weekend and those rain chances for next week. That's coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
But first, having a live look over Jefferson City. Beautiful day out there today. Your time is 5:07. This is KOMU 8 News, first at 5. Coverage you can count on. We'll be right back.
Next wheel, Margie's got her game face on.
Anyone that's coming to our house, they know that they're going to have to play a game.
Others are hoping to punish the competition.
I'm just really fortunate to be here. That's all I've got to say.
See who wins the day.
Weeknights at 6:30 on KOMU 8. Guns in schools, the way students are now preparing.
If it did happen, I think I would know what to do.
And the rigorous Missouri training program for arming teachers. A 2-part target 8 investigation tonight on KOMU 8 News at 6 and 10. Never be surprised by the weather. Download the free KOMU 8 Weather and Traffic app. Brought to you by Central Bank of Boone County.
It's the lowest prices of the season going on now at Ashley Home Store. Huge store-wide savings on every item in the store. Save $200 on this queen panel bed. Now only $459, or pay no interest for 48 months. This plush sofa is now only $16 per month. Plus, buy one, get one 50% off on accessories store-wide. Don't miss our lowest prices of the season at America's #1 furniture and mattress store, Ashley Home Store. This is home.
We're putting you on the payroll. Ask for your employee pricing when you buy your new 2018 Silverado Crew Cab LT from Bob McCosh. That's over $11,000 in Silverado savings. While they last, save 20% below MSRP on the new Chevy Cruze and Chevy Malibu. See all your savings right now at BobMcCosh.com. So find new roads to #1 business loop, Columbia. Chevrolet makes the car and truck, and Bob McCosh makes the difference.
The First Alert Weather Cam is brought to you by the law firm of Harper, Evans, Wade, and Nedemeyer. We will fight for you.
All right, welcome back. Well, a cold front is headed our way. Some cooler, drier air returns tonight. We'll still be in the 70s for tomorrow, but a little bit of a drier and a cooler pattern up in store for this weekend. A few high clouds over central Missouri this afternoon, but we have seen a lot of sunshine. And those temperatures got up to 70 here in Columbia just within the last hour. Still about 69 to near 70 degrees in Jefferson City, 67 at the Lake of the Ozarks, 71 mild outside up over northern Missouri and Macon, and almost near 70 up in Brunswick and Moberly. Gotta love the forecast right now. 66 here at the 7 o'clock hour. 59 at 9. Your evening planner does cool off quite a bit, though, with a few clouds headed in. Now, that front stays mainly dry through the rest of this evening, 5 until about 9 o'clock. Couple of clouds, that's about it. There's really not a whole lot of moisture in the atmosphere to squeeze out any precipitation like we saw yesterday. So that front moves through tonight, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Lots of sun to enjoy for tomorrow. We're going to get an abundance of that. It will be breezy tomorrow afternoon, but hey, we get that sunshine and a returning temperature up near about 70. Should be comfortable enough outside where you don't need a jacket for Friday afternoon. A couple clouds want to move in Friday afternoon and Friday evening. That's with another secondary cold front that moves on by and another dry cold front too. Unfortunately, no moisture out of these series of fronts that want to move on in. But it does set up a very quiet weekend pattern. A ridge in the jet stream builds over the midsection of the country. We're going to have temperatures mainly in the 60s for Saturday, 70s on Sunday, but it looks to stay nice and sunny and dry. It's prom season this weekend. Hey, we've got a lot of open skies and some sunshine to enjoy for that. But there is a developing system off to our west. We're going to have to watch it. It should bring in some springtime rains for us next week, and we certainly need it because the latest drought monitor came out earlier this morning. Comes out every Thursday from the Climate Prediction Center of NOAA. And there are quite an expansive area of drought status starting to pop up over northwestern Missouri. These areas have really not gotten a lot of rain since about October of last year. So we've had almost 6 straight months of very dry conditions, with the exception of January, February, and March being near normal. The month of April has been very dry for the state. We've only gotten about maybe half an inch of rain so far in the state for Columbia. So it's been a very, very dry month, and it continues to be that way. We'll probably close it out on that dry status here for central Missouri. So a few clouds tonight, quiet and cool. 44 will be that overnight low temperature. Light wind out of the west-northwest. Otherwise, a little breezy tomorrow, but more sunshine. We'll take it. A high of 70 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. Cooler for this upcoming weekend. 64 on Saturday, up to 70 on Sunday. Here comes a few clouds into next week. That's with that warming pattern. We're going to be up to 77 on Monday. Could crack the 80s on Tuesday. Much needed rain for the state comes probably sometime early to mid next week.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. How autism is becoming more common among children. That's coming up. Welcome back. In your health news, the romaine lettuce E. coli outbreak has spread to 19 states, and the CDC says this is the biggest outbreak in the U.S. in 12 years. 84 people are now sick after eating lettuce traced back to Arizona. The CDC is warning customers not to eat any form of romaine lettuce. It has not identified a common grower, supplier, distributor, or brand responsible for the outbreak at this time. The number of children with autism has increased. The CDC now says 1 in 59 kids have autism. This is up from 1 in 68 a few years ago. The finding is based on groups of 8-year-olds living in 11 communities across the country. Experts say one reason for the increase comes down to better detection among minorities. There is more evidence this morning of chronic health problems among 9/11 rescue workers. Researchers tracked more than 700 New York City firefighters exposed to toxic chemicals at Ground Zero. The new study shows the workers may face an increased risk for a rare blood cancer called multiple myeloma. They were almost twice as likely as in the general population to have abnormal proteins in the blood that can lead to multiple myeloma. Well, many patients are concerned about taking powerful drugs after surgery, so some surgeons are testing a new approach to controlling pain and helping patients avoid the risk of addiction. Michigan Hospital is testing a proactive protocol. This includes scheduling non-opioid medications so the pain does not get strong enough to require those strong opioid narcotics. He also gives patients medications before the surgery to begin. He hopes that the study will encourage other doctors to reconsider their approach to post-surgery pain.
The world's largest goose can be found right here in mid-Missouri. Turns out it needs a touch-up to stay in flight.
We'll have full reaction to the Bill Cosby verdict, tell you what the scene was like inside and outside the courtroom, and a look at the downfall of the man once considered America's favorite dad. Plus the fallout from what President Trump said about the Stormy Daniels case tonight.
It was a stretch from their usual gym class, but students at Gentry Middle School didn't mind. The Gentry PTA brought in Sunlight Yoga to teach students how to relax and learn better self-esteem. The owner of Sunlight Yoga, Kristen Wells, says it's important to give students a flexible mind. A student told us about the benefits of yoga, particularly on the soccer field.
Before, when I did not do yoga, I would just listen to all the parents, and I would freak out sometimes on the field, and I just listen to them. But now I know to focus on myself. I know what to do. I don't listen to them because, like, they're just screaming random stuff.
The school will bring back the yoga instruction again next Thursday.
The world's largest goose landed in Missouri 43 years ago, and it needs a makeover to stay perched. KOMU8's Stephanie Sandoval tells us how three sisters are trying to save it and preserve their father's legacy.
It's 51 feet from the base to the top, with a 62-foot wingspan. It's not a plane, it's a bird, and it weighs 3 tons, making Maxie the world's largest goose. The sculpture is located in the wild goose capital of the world. David Jackson built Maxie over 40 years ago. His daughters, Debbie, Donna, and Denise, know all about their father's sculpture.
I remember the sculpture being built, but I've never seen it in its installation. And after 43 years, you go through life, you raise your kids, career, family, etc. I was at a point in my life where I wanted to see the goose in the installation.
So they took a trip to Maxie's home, just a mile from Swan Lake National Wildlife Refuge.
I guess we hadn't realized how much Maxie means to people, because think about it, for 4 decades, families have been stopping at the world's largest goose to get pictures with their family.
Their dad passed away 5 years ago. Now, his daughters are trying to preserve his legacy by keeping Maxie in tip-top shape.
This is the time now to do it. The statue needs it. We have the time to do it, the resources, and certainly the enthusiasm to do it as well.
But they can't do it alone. So they're teaming up with the people of Sumner to get the job done.
Not only are we preserving something that can help the town of Sumner with ecotourism, the state of Missouri can help wildlife and awareness of wildlife. But more than that, for us, for me and my sisters, it's preserving our dad's legacy.
For now, this giant goose isn't going anywhere. Stephanie Sandoval, KOMU8 News, Sumner.
The sisters say they need around $30,000 to $50,000 to restore Maxie. They have a GoFundMe page if you're interested in donating to that project. You can find the link on our website, KOMU.com. Welcome back. The grades are in, and they're not looking too good. Missouri's infrastructure received a report card today from the American Society of Civil Engineers and earned a C GPA. KOMU8's Eric Graves is live on Highway 63 with how those grades could go up.
Missouri roads are barely passing with a D+. This is the biggest decrease of any of the 11 categories since the last report came out in 2013. One civil engineer on the road report committee told me that the roads are drastically underfunded, but there is one way this can be increased. A bill in the Senate right now is seeking to raise the gas tax in the state of Missouri to 27 cents a gallon instead of what it is right now, 17 cents a gallon. This tax has not been increased with the rate of inflation in over 20 years. The increase would generate an estimated $440 million per year. Live along Highway 63, Eric Graves, KOMU 8 News.
A quick correction for you. We mentioned Andrea Constant accused Bill Cosby of sexually assaulting her in 2014. She actually accused him in 2004. Now here's a look at what we're following for 6 o'clock. The Department of Natural Resources is giving back $500,000 to the federal government.
Where the money would have gone and who's going to replace the money, that's coming up at 6 o'clock. Tim?
It should be a comfortable evening at start. Temperatures right now are around 69 to 70 degrees. The rest of this evening dropping back into the 50s. A cool start for tomorrow morning. 44 will be that temperature. A little breezy in the afternoon for Friday. We'll end out this week near 70 degrees and lots of sun for this upcoming weekend. The weekend looks great.
It's going to be a busy weekend at Lowe's.
That's right. Yeah. That is our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here at 6.
On air, online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the News app, and the Weather app. KOMU 8 News. Coverage you can count on. Being number one has its challenges. The early mornings, late nights, the takeout.